Ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation, welcome to Fighters Rep episode 72. I'm your host of Fighters Rep, Fez, alongside the governor of Richmond Heights, Miami, Florida, none other
I
than
can get a new name every time.
Ignorant Behavior. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Long day at work, but here we are. We're ready to talk
Well, let me
about...
take this back. I'm not doing so good because I got a bill that was crazy today. Yeah.
What happened?
Man, plumbing issues, man.
Oh, yeah. No, those are crazy. Those are always crazy. Those are the millionaires nowadays. You know that, right?
Yeah. Hey, a dude told me one time, he says, hey, man, invest in plumbing. People always got a shit.
So that being said, we're going to be today talking about Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach. We're going to be giving you guys our preview prediction on the fight, Gary. And man, we're really spoiled as boxing fans and pundits, Gary, because this is the second week in a row we got something really great to look forward to. I mean, it's almost like the cherry on top having Tank versus Lamont Roach immediately after what was one of the biggest cards we've ever seen, something we're still recovering from. We got to give them the prediction. That's why we got the prediction Fez on, Gary.
Yeah. Hey, let me tell you something. Some people are saying it's not a big fight because it's Lamont Roach and he's cherry picking and all this stuff. You give me a take on that after a while.
I'm glad you bring that up. I mean, you want me to give you my thoughts or
go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to hear George's thoughts.
All right. So I'm not even gonna, I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. I'm gonna give it to you straight. I'm a huge Tank Davis fan. I think Tank Davis is, when I think of American boxing and electricity and an absolutely lit atmosphere with everybody in the crowd and backflips and everything that makes a fight night fun, I think of Tank Davis. I mean, this is a guy that goes in there, he can fight, he's technical, but he's explosive, Gary. He's flashy, and he knocks people out. He gives fans what they want to see, Gary. You know what I mean? And he's represented for the U.S. I'm pretty much always going to go for Tank in every fight. I think Lamont Roach, I think he's an accomplished guy. I think people are underrating him big time, right? Because they actually fought each other in the amateurs, and even Tank has given his respect to Roach, right? Because of their previous interactions kind of coming up in the game together. And, he said, this guy's got skills. I mean, this guy's dangerous. That being said, I'm kind of in the middle of the pack, right? I don't think Roach is a pushover at all. I think he's a good fighter. But when you look at his record, Gary, and perhaps this is the fickle boxing fan in me, he lost to Jamel Herring in 2019, and he's got a draw with Orlando Cruz from 2018. He's, about the same age as Tank. He's a good fighter. I think, I think he's confident in himself. But those are two guys that I just could not see a guy like Tank Davis losing to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah, and so the math doesn't always math, as the kids say, especially in boxing, right? The math doesn't math all the time. I think it's going to be a good fight while it lasts. But Gervonta Tank Davis, Gary, is elite, right? You don't live in Parkland if you're just some scrub. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shout out to Parkland, Florida. He's an elite guy. I would say Lamont Roach is, still a B-level, maybe B-level fighter at this point.
I agree with B. So I'm asking you, because fans have said this and people have said this, do you think Tank is cherry picking? Does he cherry pick?
You know what? I think at this point, I'm not going to call it.
I'm going to give the political answer. Tell me what you think.
Well, look, you put me on the spot, and I want to think it through. I don't want to just blurt something out and then regret it afterwards. I like to have some method to the madness. I like to kind of really think it through. I wouldn't say it's a cherry pick. I would say it's more like a tomato pick or something like that. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm saying, just not this fight, but do you feel like his previous fights and things of that nature, he cherry picks?
Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think, obviously he came up with the same leadership, the same guides as Floyd Mayweather. I mean, Leonard Ellerbe was in his corner. Floyd Mayweather kind of mentored him, and Floyd Mayweather in the second half of his career, for sure, like once the pretty boy thing was over and it became Money May, then it was just, let me get this bag every time. Let me make sure I'm not gonna take on the toughest challenge because I have leverage, right? He has leverage, so he can pick who he wants to fight at that point. Kind of in the second half of his career. I think the problem with Tank Davis's career is that it's kind of gone like that from the beginning. It's almost like he's been Money May from the beginning, where he's going to pick who he wants to fight. He's going to have the leverage. In my opinion, he's going to have the leverage. And that's what's sitting with people and making them feel like this guy's never challenged himself. Because, Gary, I'm going to ask you, right, to make my point.
Okay.
What fight have you seen Tank Davis in where you said it's 50-50? And tell me if you think it's because he's so damn good that there's no fight that's 50-50 or not. But I mean, I've never looked at a fight and said that's 50-50. Tank's got a chance of losing that.
I mean, have I ever looked at a fight and said it's 50-50? No. I will say this, that when he fought Ryan Garcia, you were like, hey, that's a tough one.
Yeah, tough one, yeah.
You said, because you seen what Ryan Garcia did to Devin Haney, even though he was juiced or whatever. But
that was after, Gary. That was after.
Yeah, but I'm saying before, Ryan Garcia was undefeated before he lost the Tank.
Gary, but Ryan Garcia had also not really fought anyone in the upper echelon, right?
And neither did Tank.
Right.
This was their first time. This was their first time fighting somebody who you thought was in the upper echelon, for both guys. That's still Tank's biggest payday.
Yeah.
That's still his biggest payday, because it was somebody who we remember when was that, like 135, we said Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis, and Tio. Those are the two top guys.
Yeah,
he fought. Yeah. He fought Ryan Garcia. And that's even though I thought that was, I do think he picked selective. I do think he's selective, because he didn't pick Devin Haney, who's a real, like, a better boxer than Ryan Garcia, even though, Ryan Garcia beat him. Right. He didn't pick Tio, who is more explosive, more of an athlete. He didn't pick him.
So I guess. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying. So I feel like he strategically sees something in somebody. He fights Rolly, who was a top guy. Well, not at that time he wasn't, but he became a top guy.
Right.
But Rolly had a lot of power, but he knew Rolly had deficiencies. You know what I mean? Rolly wasn't that great of a boxer. He started late, that. He could do something. Same thing with Frank Martin.
Yeah.
He knew Frank Martin didn't have that experience that he could. Now, are those all tough fights and tough boxers? Yeah. So you can't discount them. Those are tough fights.
No. So that's why I won't say, Gary, he's a cherry picker, right? Because for me, a cherry picker is picking opponents that have absolutely no chance of winning. But I will say he's very strategic in the way he picks his opponents.
Yeah.
It's very guided, and he's not really challenging himself. And so people are just going to say, he's not really challenging himself to the extent people want him to. So people are going to say he's cherry picking, because, again, Gary, have you seen him in a 50-50 fight? I haven't seen that. I haven't seen a 50. Now, I can't say the same.
The closest is Ryan Garcia.
Right. Now, I can't even say the same about Mayweather, right? Because even when Mayweather fought, for example, De La Hoya, when he fought, what's his name?
A lot of people picked De La Hoya.
Yeah, when he fought Castillo the second time, you know.
He was an underdog against not Castillo, against he died on a motorcycle.
Corrales.
Diego Corrales.
Yeah.
Diego.
Yeah.
He was an underdog in that fight.
That's why I'm saying, Gary, I'm saying what I think happened was it was Pretty Boy Floyd who was down to fight anybody. And then he saw being the bad guy and being selective and pissing people off is what made him money. He became Money Mayweather, and then he kind of became what Tank is emulating, right? Which is, okay, I see this guy's pretty good. It's a good scalp, but he's not on my level. So I'm going to fight him. You know what I mean?
But see, that's why I think Tank kind of. This is how my personal feeling. This is that
diplomatic. Is that diplomatic enough for you?
But this is what I feel like Tank kind of. He's trying to be Money Mayweather before being Pretty Boy.
Right.
Pretty Boy fought all the tough people. Even Money Mayweather fought tough people. Because you can't say when he went ahead and fought he fought
a lot of guys. He fought a lot of guys. Cotto. He fought
Cotto. That's what I was gonna say.
Juan Marquez.
Cotto was in his prime.
He fought Manny Pacquiao. He fought nothing but champions.
But people don't give him respect for Manny Pacquiao, but they give him respect for Cotto. He got in there and fought. Cotto was in his prime. Even though I feel like
he fought Ricky Hatton, but you know he fought a lot of these guys when they were either smaller than him or they had already, like Cotto had already been through the Margarito thing. He was a little bit beat up. It was a little bit late. The Pacquiao fight happened way too late. Even De La Hoya, I mean, I thought it was going to be a close fight, but De La Hoya was already kind of at the sliding on the downswing.
Yeah, so that's my point with Money May was a little bit more strategic.
Yeah,
he knew certain people like, okay, this guy, even when he fought Zab Judah, which I don't really call that the Money Mayweather era.
That's a tough fight.
I kind of feel like that's still like, Pretty Boy when he fought Zab, and I think Tank is starting that too early because, and I'm not gonna knock on Mayweather because you got Canelo doing the same thing right now.
Right, but Canelo also, Gary, had his Pretty Boy period, right? That's what's happening here. That's what's happening.
Now he has the money period.
Right.
That's my point. That's my point. Canelo is doing the same thing. So I don't want to just hop on Mayweather. Canelo's doing the same thing. Like
no. Listen, Gary, we're not gonna just hate on Mayweather. We don't do that here. We're objective. It's the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God on the Fighters Rep podcast. We try to keep it objective here, right? We keep it a buck, like the kids say. If we're going to go after Mayweather, we got to go after Canelo as well. He's doing the same thing right now.
He's doing the same thing. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I just think Tank is doing it too early.
I agree. The thing is, here's the thing. It's not even he's doing it too early. He never did the other thing.
Yeah.
Right? Now, where he's lucked out, I think where he's lucked out and it's helped his reputation, Gary, is he fought guys and beat guys that ended up being better than advertised, that ended up going on, perhaps with the experience they got from Tank and otherwise, to become champions, right? I think about Mario Barrios. I think about Isaac Cruz. You know what I mean? Even Ryan Garcia.
And now we're seeing with Pitbull, he's lost a couple fights since then.
He's lost a couple, yeah.
And now you're seeing he's good, but he's not great.
But that's not the same. But that may be not the same Pitbull that fought Tank Davis, right? We got to be fair.
I think it's the same one. Yeah? I think the same one. When Rayo beat him, it was the same Pitbull. It was just Rayo was like they say, styles make fight. Rayo boxed him, boxed his eyes out, kept moving. It was that because after he lost the Tank, he beat Rolly. Yeah. It's the same guy.
Yeah. Well, listen. I'm glad you bring up Rayo because he's on the undercard. He's the co-main event. against Gary Russell. So that's pretty Gary.
So you think it's going to be Tank and Rayo after this because of the co-main event, trying to promote it like that?
I think it makes sense. I think I think if Rayo wins this fight in style, and if he fights Rayo after this, that's the toughest
a good fight though. That's a good fight though.
Yeah, that's the toughest fight.
That's the toughest one. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be maybe the same as Garcia or more.
More. I think more.
Right. But the thing with Garcia, where it has the asterisk, is the weight thing. It's the weight cut. I know you don't like to hear it, but Gary, I'm not. Look, even if I didn't think it, people think it. People think that. You know what I mean?
I agree.
I believe it's a problem. The weight thing. But and you don't. I know you don't. But other people are going to think so, Gary. Other people are going to think so. You know what I mean? And they're going to say it wasn't the real, fully, hydrated, tough Ryan Garcia. I do think
the real Ryan Garcia is drugged up, shot up. That's the real Ryan Garcia. Give me a needle.
Maybe. I don't know. But as far as Rayo, that's his weight class. If he beats Gary Russell, having just come off a win against Isaac Cruz as well, I mean, he's a very capable guy. He's a capable guy, and if Gervonta Tank Davis can beat him, it's might be the best win of his career, in my opinion.
In my opinion, too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the best win of his career if he beats Rayo. I just
so in summary, is he a cherry picker or is he not? I won't call him a cherry picker outright, but I'll say he's very carefully guided.
That's good words you just said there.
Yeah.
He knows, because he could have fought Shakur. He could have fought Devin Haney. He could have fought some of these other guys, these top guys. T.O. called him out. Even though, we know T.O. calling him out because T.O. needs more steam now that he faded. Because when T.O. was on top, T.O. wasn't calling him out.
Yeah.
But I think he wants to fight Lomachenko, but I feel like Lomachenko is on the back end.
Yeah.
And so that's why I say he's being strategic. Like, this he's a name, but he's on the back end of it. He's older.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's been through some wars and things like that. So, like I said, I think Tank is elite, but he needs to start fighting these elite guys.
Right. And at what point is he going to do it? I mean, you can't be a 30-year-old prospect, which is the complaint I'm hearing a lot about him. He's got 30 fights at this point, Gary, 30 wins, 28 come by way of knockout. Again, one of the most electric, exciting fighters in the world, regardless. I mean, here's the other problem, right? And this is why I've espoused this forever on this channel. I did it when we were doing the fights at FightersRep while I was a promoter for 7 years. I always thought it was very important for the best people to fight the best people. And part of the reason for that, Gary, is I think it's important to get the public, fight fans, casuals and hardcore, acclimated to fighters losing.
Yeah.
And being able to come back and win, because people are so afraid to lose, right? Because there's such a stigma involved with losing in boxing. I mean, you could literally lose the bag, as they say, by losing.
Well, I think heavyweight is doing that for boxing, because all the heavyweights except for Usyk have a loss.
Yeah,
all of them have fought each other, fought other people, and they lost.
Kabile's undefeated, but I mean, he's still.
That's a newer name. It's not a big name. Yeah. But when you look at the Tyson Furies, when you look at the boy
Wilder, Parker,
Wilder, all of them. Joshua's gotten his ass whooped a few times.
Dubois. Yeah.
Dubois lost to Usyk, and he got knocked out by Joyce. And Parker is now making a resurgence.
Right.
And he's lost. You see these dudes lose, so it's almost like, and we still want to watch those dudes. So it's like they're making it. I don't want to say it's cool to lose. I don't never want to say they're making it cool to lose. You don't never want to be cool with losing.
But they're making it a reasonable part of the fight game, which it should be, Gary. I mean, people shouldn't be losing opportunities in their career because they had a loss. I mean, it's kind of like
Canelo lost what, 3 times?
right. It's kind of like what Floyd says. You know, if you swim, you're going to get wet. You know what I mean? If you box,
Yeah.
if you box, you're going to get punched, and at some point you're going to lose, unless you're Floyd Mayweather. So, so there it is. But yeah, not a cherry pick, Gary. So that being said, Lamont Roach, right? I think he's a decent fighter, but if I'm going to grade them, Tank Davis is an A+. For me, Lamont Roach is a B, right? He's a B. Does the B have a chance to beat an A+?
Does a Roach have a chance against Raid?
Or a Tank? Or a Tank? So, you know, he's got a chance. I mean, there's that clip clause I talk about all the time. I mean, you know, every gentleman's agreement has a clip clause. You know what I mean? You can get.
Well, I was being funny with the Raid joke before, but I mean, he has a chance to outbox him. He's not knocking Tank out. He doesn't possess that type of power. He's a smaller fighter coming up to a bigger weight. So I don't think that's the reason why I have he doesn't. If he was a knockout artist with his boxing skills, because
right.
Don't get me wrong, Lamont Roach has good boxing skills. He's
27 fights, Gary, 10 knockouts, significantly less.
And that's at 130.
Right.
So I don't really think he has anything to keep Tank off of him.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Tank walks him down, beats him up, and knocks him out. I don't think this is going the distance. I think Tank knocks him out. I think Tank if he was more of a puncher, I would give him more of a chance.
Yeah. What round do you think that happens in this fight? And kind of, you know, tell me how you think the fight goes if you're visualizing anything over there. Because, you know, what's going on in here right now.
I think Lamont Roach boxes really good in the early rounds. I think it goes back and forth. It's a close fight through the first 6, maybe 7. No, actually, you know what? I take it back. It's a close fight for the first 5 rounds.
Gary.
And then Tank starts beating him up.
Damn, Gary.
And then I think he gets him out of there by, I'm going to call round 8.
Ooh. God.
Round 8. I think Tank just starts, you start seeing a level switch around 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And you just see Tank start to turn it up. Because Tank's mostly down a lot of fights. And Tank is a late starter. He tries to figure you out. And I think Lamont Roach is a good enough boxer that's going to take Tank about around 8, 9 to knock him out. So that's what I think.
Yeah. You know, damn, I'm feeling those numbers you're tossing out, man. I'm feeling those numbers. I'm feeling 5. I'm feeling 8. I'm feeling 9. 9 is a lucky number for me, man. I like 9, but I agree with you, man. I mean, look, I think Lamont Roach does have that amateur pedigree, guys. He's got that amateur pedigree. And by the way, if you guys have any comments, you want to join in on the conversation, drop it in the live chat. We'd love to hear your opinions. Subscribe to the channel. Join the channel to help us continue build. We're dropping content almost every single day, and we're going live after all the big fights and live for the podcast every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific. Gary, I couldn't agree more with you. I think Lamont Roach is a good boxer. I think, like you said, for the first, I'm thinking 4 to 6 too. So I'll go with 5 for the first 4 or 5 rounds. He keeps it close. And then I think Tank just starts to pull away, Gary. And I think he just starts placing those shots. Bam! You know, he's boxing with him. Bam! Throws in a hard one. You know what I mean? Touch. Bam! Hits him with another one. Touch, bam! And eventually...
You sound like me with my wife. That's how I try to do with her.
Yeah, because you can't go hard all at once. You might blow an early lead. But... But I do think Gary, 8th round. I wanted to initially say 9, but you know, the more I'm thinking about it, I'm starting to think, man, he's lucky if he gets out of 8, Gary. He's lucky if he gets out of 8.
I definitely think it's going to be a knockout. I don't think it's going to the cards. But I think Lamont Roach, because of the quality of boxer he is, he can last probably 8-9. But I do think because of his size, he's just a smaller guy. He's not a
Yeah.
big puncher.
Yeah.
Tank. When he was fighting Frank Martin, they was in high, like his corner said, how does he hit? He was like, he got a little pop. So he respected Frank a little bit, like, I'm going to tire him out a little bit. He got a little pop now.
Not enough.
He got a little pop that I got to respect him. I got to tire him out. But Lamont Roach, I don't think he's going to respect Lamont Roach the same. Yeah. So, and Lamont Roach is not going to do what Frank Martin did because he's more of an experienced boxer. But I still feel like after a while, it's just going to get walked down and knocked out.
Yeah. Frank Martin, I mean, I hate to say it. This sounds terrible, but he kind of reminded me, when compared to Tank, he kind of reminded me of a guy like you just like play a pickup basketball game with in Miami, you know? And he stepped into the ring against a guy that really boxes. That's what it looked like to me. And all respect to Frank Martin. I know he's better than that, and I know you guys are related, so I'm sorry about that. But that was a brutal.
No relation.
And you know, I do think, again, I do think Lamont will give a better account of himself. But man, I almost also feel like, tell me if you feel this, Gary, there's like a presence with Tank Davis. There's like an aura about him, right? It's like
Mike Tyson.
Yeah, it's like you see him in the pre-fight, you see him walking around, you see the way he talks, the way he moves, and you know, like, this guy like really believes in himself, and there's something electric around this guy.
Well, it's the thing about it. It's
light you up.
It's the thing about it is, you know, when you get in there with him, all eyes on you. It's a big moment. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, this is big. This is one of the biggest fights of your career. And you know this dude is dangerous.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with Mike Tyson. I won't say he is exactly like Mike Tyson. I won't say that. Because Mike Tyson was a different thing. Dudes was getting in there, wouldn't even look Mike in the eye.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I don't think that's the case. But it's more of a, hey, I got to watch out for this guy. That's what had Frank Martin. I feel like it had Frank Martin so juiced up, even with his success early on, had him so juiced up and so tensed and so, because this dude anytime can hit me.
You know what I think Tank Davis is like, man? Is because the Mike Tyson aura for me was just like this scary guy that would come out with a white towel around his neck, very, very like plain, to the point, and a killer. Like a killer, he's straight to the point, says some crazy stuff on the mic, but he was just a more of a silent, like, assassin type to me, you know.
I don't know about silent, because Mike told somebody he's gonna push their nose bone up into their brain.
Well, I mean,
he's gonna eat somebody's children.
yeah. I mean, that was some of the goofy stuff he would say on the mic, you know, but
that was promoting at his best. That was great.
It was good. It was. He still says that does crazy stuff. But Tank Davis to me is like a rock star, man. Tank Davis. When I think about Tank Davis, I think about a rock star. I don't know. That's what I think of. You know, a rock
Tank
star
is a troll.
Rap star.
When he jumps at people at the way in, they jump like Frank Martin jumps, and he does little thing, pushes them down off the stage. He's a troll, and he's like, but he's also, when you get in there, it's almost like Deontay Wilder too. When you get in there, Deontay Wilder, you're like, hey, you gotta watch that right hand. That thing cracks.
Yeah. I know he's got like a rock star energy.
Hold on, real quick, George. Let me.
Sugar incoming.
Put some. No. I need her to put some different panties on.
Oh, geez.
Get them other panties for me.
Oh my goodness.
I want to be a rock star tonight.
Oh, jeez.
I'm just joking.
The only part of me that gets blood rushing to it is starting to work right now. But yeah, you know, to me, this dude's a rock star, man. I love to watch him. He brings so much energy. You see the crowd. I mean, today I was on Instagram and I saw on social media, you know, they were showing like, they were kind of like ragging on the Saudi Arabian card, you know. They're like, oh, that looks so boring. This is what a real fight looks like. You know, they showed Tank knocking someone out and the whole audience like standing up and going crazy. And, you know, it's just It's just kind of like a vibe when Tank fights, man. And that's why I would love to go to a Tank Davis fight, man. That'd probably be a lot of fun, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, no, it is. I mean,
It's like
that's
a
the
party. It's like a party.
but that's the pressure you put on the other fighter
Yeah,
across the
yeah.
ring. You already know.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is
And that's
this.
that aura. That's that aura.
Yeah.
And I don't think, even if a guy's a good fighter like Lamont Roach is, I think that aura saps some of your energy, man. If you don't have that personality to be able to handle that, I think it saps your energy. And I'll be honest with you, Gary, I think it saps Tank's energy a little bit too, right? Because as amazing as he is and everything else, we've been hearing him say, he wants to go see a therapist. He's kind of tired of all this boxing stuff. I think the monotony of it, right, and the pressure. And I wasn't even on that level as a promoter like Tank is, but the monotony and the pressure, doing it over and over again, and the pressure and all those people around you, people asking you questions, Gary, and you're on social media, Gary, and you're in the regular mainstream media, Gary, and you got people, tagging you and messaging you and tens of thousands of people eyes watching you. It's a lot, Gary. It's a lot.
Well, you heard Mike Tyson say that when he was in his prime and not to lose, it was a lot of pressure that it really weighed on him.
Yeah.
Like Mike Tyson, who's probably the biggest besides Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
I would say Mike Tyson is the biggest icon of boxing ever.
I would agree. With you.
And he said that pressure weighed on him. It was a pressure that was just like, it messed with him, and that's probably why he went to drugs. That's probably why he did all the crazy things he did, trying to live up to the pressure of being Mike Tyson. I'm gonna knock everybody out.
Yeah. So yeah, Tank Davis, round 8, man, knockout. I'm seeing knockout. Are you seeing knockout, or are you seeing technical knockout? What's going on in that big old cranium?
Knockout. I see knockout.
Yeah.
I see
Body shot, head
him.
shot. What are we talking about?
I see a headshot.
Yeah.
I think he catches him. I want to say with a hook, a left hook.
Yeah.
No.
Right hook.
Right hook.
I like a right hook as well. Another interesting thing, Tank Davis actually 2 inches shorter, at least that's what he's listed, than Lamont Roach. But the reach is almost identical, Gary. It's a half an inch difference in favor of Lamont Roach. So not really a significant difference there for Roach, despite being 2 inches taller. So the bigger target with a reach that's almost identical. I think it's going to be a problematic situation. And the power, Gary, the skills, even if the skills match, Gary, the power
doesn't.
Oh man, it doesn't at all. The explosiveness, the power. That's Tank Davis. That's what you think of when you think Tank Davis, Gary. The pride, Gary. The pride of the United States of America, the face of American boxing, is Tank Davis, in my opinion.
You think the face of American boxing is Tank Davis?
Absolutely. It needs to be. If it's
I
not,
have to think about this. Let me think real quick.
If not, he needs to be. If not, he needs to be.
You might be right. I'm trying to think real quick of what other American boxer.
Caleb Plant.
Hell no.
David Benavidez.
Are we calling David Benavidez American or Mexican?
Yeah,
because
I mean, he's born. He's
but he
born here,
repped Mexico.
Oh,
he repped Mexico.
You're born here, bud.
Hey,
who else? I mean, who else would you say is a bigger star than Tank Davis?
It's Tank. I think you're right. I think it's Tank. I think you're right. Tank is the face of American boxing. I don't know any. Deontay Wilder had some steam for a while, but he's since lost.
Yeah.
I can't really think of. I'm trying to think. I can't really think of any other American boxer that.
I mean, you could. I mean, as far as skills, even though I still have Tank up there, I mean, a close or even or perhaps better is
Ryan Garcia,
Terrence Crawford.
Terrence Crawford.
Yeah, but Terrence Crawford. As much as I love him, he's never going to have the character the personality, in my opinion, of a Tank Davis. I mean, Tank Davis is just, like I said, he's got rock star energy.
If
And then,
Terrence Crawford beats Canelo, he's the face of boxing. He's the face of boxing. If Terrence Crawford beats Canelo, he's going to be the biggest shit out there, point blank, period.
He's going to definitely be without question, I would say probably without question, he's going to be the #1 pound for pound boxer.
Well, that's for sure. But I'm talking about popularity. You beat Canelo Alvarez. You got to think about when Mayweather went from Pretty Boy to Money May is when he beat De La Hoya.
Because look, Bivol beat Canelo. Bivol beat Canelo.
Yeah, but Bivol was a bigger guy.
Right.
Canelo, that's most people felt like 175 was a stretch, even though he beat Kovalev.
Yeah.
People were like, okay, he's a smaller guy at 175.
Yeah.
Bivol beat him.
You this though. You say he becomes
but you whoop Errol Spence, then you whoop Canelo. You whoop Errol Spence and you jump up 3 weight classes and beat Canelo. You gonna be on fire right after that.
Hey, listen. Let me ask you a question though. Let me ask you a hypothetical. Because I don't feel comfortable, even if Terrence Crawford beats Canelo, calling Terrence Crawford the face of boxing. I'm not saying he's not the best if he does it, but the face requires sales, right?
I get you.
So let me ask you
something. He does that. He can write his own check.
So let me ask you, if Terrence Crawford beats Canelo Alvarez, and then he has a fight in the United States, is he going to outsell Gervonta Tank Davis?
I think he will, if it's a good fight. If it's a fight, because listen,
what if
I heard reports that this fight with Lamont Roach isn't selling that great. It's selling, but it ain't selling that great. That's what I heard reports. So if Bud beats Canelo, after that, whoever he takes on is going to be a good name. It's going to be a big ass fight.
Okay. Here's another one.
I would not tell him to fight Benavidez, but whatever. That's another story.
Here's another one. What if they were to fight the same guy? Who would sell more? If they were to fight the same caliber opponent, let's say, who do you think would sell? Do you think Crawford at that point would be able to outsell and outshine a Tank Davis in the American market? Or
at that point, if he beat Canelo, I think at that point he's the king and he would outsell Tank. Because let's not act like he's not a knockout artist. He has a high knockout ratio. He has, like, Errol Spence was a big name.
Gary, you see these jewels glistening?
Errol Spence.
Gary, you see these jewels glistening, Gary? They're telling me to disagree with you, man. They're telling me.
Oh, you're crazy. If he beats Canelo, I'm not talking about now. Now, I would say Tank would, if they fought the same opponent. Obviously, they can't because they're different weight classes. But if they fought the same opponent, same caliber opponent, I would say Tank.
Yeah.
But if he beats Canelo, he's the king of all of boxing at that point.
He is. But the face,
everybody.
I think the face requires more than just skill and talent and where you are in the pound for pound list.
I'm not talking about skill and talent. I'm talking about the notoriety you get from beating Canelo.
Notoriety, Gary. Sales, Gary. Butts and seats, Gary. I don't know
what he gets off of winning that. This is the biggest fight of his life. It's same thing when Mayweather fought De La Hoya. Even though De La Hoya had lost 4 or 5 fights by that time, he was getting older. When Mayweather beat De La Hoya, that's when he exploded and became. Obviously, Mayweather talks more than Bud, and he sells himself more than Bud. But that kind of pushed him into another level. Same thing when Pacquiao fought De La Hoya.
Yeah, it's interesting. because yeah, I would love to see if Terrence Bud Crawford's able to pull that off. I mean, first and foremost, I mean, if he goes all the way up there and beats Canelo, what the hell does he do after that? You know what I mean? What does he even do
Exactly.
after
It's
that?
not hard. It's kind of hard.
Like, do you just
three-time
retire? Do you just retire, or do you go get bag after bag after bag after that?
I think you got to retire after that.
But he's going to be approaching 40. He's approaching 40.
But I'm saying I think you retire after that because that's going to be the biggest bag you got. You know, it's nothing else you can do. You're 3-division unified champion.
Yeah.
3 divisions. What are you gonna do for a 4th division? You can't do that. And then there's no other fight that's gonna bring you the income.
Well, no, isn't he already a 3-division unified champ?
I thought it was 2. I thought it was 147 and 140.
And
135. He was.
I don't remember anymore.
Yeah, but I'm just saying he's gonna be crazy multiple division unified champ.
Yeah.
You beating all of the greats in 147 at 140, and then you went up to 168 and beat the face of boxing. If you do that, then
that's insane.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like I said, I'm a big Boots supporter. If this motherfucker goes beats Canelo, I can no longer say I think Boots can beat this motherfucker.
Wow. Now I'm like cheering extra hard for Terrence Crawford to win, man.
If he goes up and beat Canelo, I'm gonna say shit, Canelo is the fucking Canelo beat Boots.
Yeah.
But
it's interesting. It's interesting. So look, after Tank Davis, and by the way, if you guys haven't already subscribed to the channel, join the channel, drop your comments below. If you want to drop a super chat or a super thanks, it's greatly appreciated. Anything you spend here gets reinvested right back into the channel. And we also have merch below that you can buy to support us. I greatly appreciate it. After Tank gets through Lamont Roach, which is what we believe is going to happen, what do you think is, I mean, you mentioned, or we mentioned, perhaps Rayo is next. I mean, do you think that's what's next, or do you think they push for a Shakur fight? Because a lot of people right now are pushing for a Shakur fight, especially after he fought the electrician who, by the way, left us a fantastic, Joshua Padley did, a fantastic video answer to our question. You can, if he regretted, I asked him if he regretted fighting Shakur. He answered via video. It's on our Instagram and YouTube shorts. You can go check it out. But do you think they try to make Shakur, Gary, and kind of put Rayo on the back burner, or I mean, what do you think happens next if Tank
like
Davis
I said,
wins?
I think Tank is strategic. I think he will rather fight Rayo than Shakur, even though I don't think that's smart because Rayo is just as dangerous. Well, I won't say just as, but Rayo is a dangerous person to go ahead and fight. So if you it's a possibility you can lose for less money.
Yeah.
I heard like Turkey is trying to make the Tank fight.
Yeah.
And when Big Turk does what Big Turk does, he's gonna put the money in front of you. He said he don't have to agree with Tank and like Tank.
Go ahead. I'm just putting the gravy from the turkey all over the place. Go ahead.
He said they don't have to get along. They don't like to do business. And when those numbers, and Tank said he doesn't dislike Turkey, and that shows that he's willing to, hey, Turkey, I don't dislike you if you're going to give me that money. What that paper looking like? So it's a strong possibility they can get it done. Eddie Hearn said it, that they was going to try to, push forward and try to get it done.
Yeah.
But I think maybe he fights one more fight like Rayo before they go ahead and get, Tank and Shakur together.
Yeah. We have an interesting comment that just came in. Appreciate you, Verkzea. He says, Gary, are we getting, by the way, are we getting sugar input right now, or are we not getting sugar input?
Nah. She came out of the shower naked, so I had to look over there a little bit.
Damn. All right.
Look at the booty.
Let's prevent the blood rushing to the other head, and let's keep it on the main head. The biggest fight in boxing right now is Canelo versus Davis, and Canelo versus David, and Tank versus Shakur. Nobody wants to see Bud versus Canelo, says Burks. Zan, I appreciate the comment, man. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and do so. Also, guys, consider joining the channel. Gary, what do you think of that
I disagree.
comment, man?
I disagree with that. Nobody wants to see Bud versus Canelo.
Yeah.
I do. I know a lot of people do. And that's the reason why we're having it.
This guy right here.
Turkey is not paying all that money because nobody wants to see it.
Right.
A lot of people wants to see it. Now, will it be a good fight? I don't know. Maybe maybe it's easy work like Canelo says.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not. But you want to see it's always good to see a little man versus a big man go at it. And a great little man against a great big man, and see if the great little man
pull it off.
Yeah, look at Roy Jones against Ruiz. And Ruiz wasn't a great big man, but he was a champion.
Good big man. He was a good big man.
He was a champion, but we wanted to see if Roy could actually go up to heavyweight. And people even after that, people were asking for Roy against Mike Tyson after that.
Yeah.
You think people weren't going to watch that?
Yeah, the casuals. Listen, the casuals will watch anything, man. I mean, you can put, the casuals. Listen, if there weren't casuals that would watch anything, Jake Paul wouldn't be selling the way he sells. I mean, that guy sells like crazy. So people do want to watch it. And I'll say this, Verks. I agree with you in that I would rather watch Canelo versus David Benavidez. I would rather watch Tank versus Shakur. I think that's where it sounds like me and Gary both agree with you. But I'll take Canelo Crawford. I mean, I'll take it. But I would rather see these guys really dominate their own division, really dominate the people around them before moving on to these more gimmicky or super fights, rather. Whether it's a gimmicky fight, whether it's a mega fight, super fight, whatever people want to call it, super duper fight, Gary, whatever they want to call it. I would rather see guys just kind of dominate their own division. And that's kind of why I got a little bit of respect for Boots Ennis not going up to 154, right? A lot of people are dogging him about that. But if he could stay at 147, maybe conquer that division, I don't think that's the worst idea, even though, Gary, he left behind a whole lot of gravy in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, Gary, the big old Gary.
It's
the
still
big
out
old Disney World turkey leg, Gary, the big Disney World, the one that you walking around the park all day with the Disney World turkey leg and you're just eating at it, Gary. You're eating at it. It's never ending. It's like, is the meat reproducing on the turkey leg? That's how much resources are on that turkey.
I mean, the one thing I will say is he still got a shot at it. And like you said, would I rather have seen I don't even know if I can say I'd rather see it, but Boots versus Bud, they're closer in size.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can say I'd rather see it than a Canelo and Bud. Because I do want to see Canelo and Bud. I want to see how this works out. If Bud can actually hold his own.
But Boots, Bud for a hardcore fight.
Boots and Bud, I think probably is a better fight though.
Yeah.
Boots because they're closer to whatever. And same thing when you say, honestly, like David Benavidez, I don't think he was a 168 pounder, 175 pounder. I mean, he's bigger than that. So, I mean, but I do want to see David and maybe Bivol or Beterbiev.
What? I'm going to get into that in a second with you. I want to finish.
I would want to see that more than I want to see the Canelo.
Yeah.
And David Benavidez.
Staying on topic here, so that's why we're hitting Verxa up again, reading his next comment. Appreciate you, Verxa, for your participation. All of you, please feel free to participate. Ask any questions you have. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I don't see Bud beating Canelo. Bud last fight, his opponents with just 11 fights, was able to land that straight right hand on Bud the whole fight. What do you think Canelo would do to Bud?
You want to go first or me go first?
I'll just go ahead and go first. I mean, I think, and I want to say you agree with me on this one, Gary. You know, if anybody can pull it off, it's Bud Crawford. I think you can't take away from Israel Madrimov. He's a world-class guy, and that he's going to land shots on everybody. We saw him, even though he came up short against Virgil Ortiz, gave a hell of an account of himself. And I thought he gave a hell of an account of himself against Bud Crawford, even though he came up short there. I think Canelo obviously has the edge just because he's already acclimated to 168 pounds. I do think he's going to land the punch, and I think this fight is going to be almost entirely based on how Crawford reacts to that punch, right? Is Crawford going to be able to handle that power? Because it looks like he's got the height. He's probably going to have the speed. Not probably. I think he's going to have the speed for sure. I think his technique is a little bit better. Is he going to be able to deal with the massive power and the change, right? It's the change. I mean, yeah, you could bounce around at 135, 140, 147, but now we're talking about 168. So that's what it is for me. That's why I got Canelo with a slight edge. But that's how I feel. I think Canelo probably wins that fight decision.
You can't look at who Bud fought last time and kind of compare it to. They're two totally different styles. As we see, Madrimov is jerky. He moves in and out. He's Canelo's not doing all of that.
Yeah.
Canelo was walking you down, cornering you off. He's not on his toes. He's not, moving around and giving you these different feints and jerky movements in and out. So it's a different fight. Like they say, style makes fights.
Yeah.
So if a style makes a fight and you're just flat-footed trying to walk me down, it's different from a boxer who is, changing levels in and out, moving his head and doing all this and jerking about. So Crawford is a natural counterpuncher. So he's trying to counterpunch, but Madrimov is also trying to counterpunch.
Yeah.
So that was a really slow fight. And it's like more so of this is slow. We both trying to counterpunch. I want you to go first. You want me to go first. You're not going to have that in the Canelo fight. Canelo's going to go first. And he's going to try to beat you up and walk you down. And that gives Bud a lot more opportunities to counter.
And Canelo is an amazing counterpuncher, he says, which is true. Bud is going to add 20 to 21 pounds. That's a lot of weight. We don't even know if Bud cardio going to be the same or be as quick as he was at 147. The other thing you got to think about is he's approaching 40. He's older than Canelo, Gary.
Yeah.
Man. He's older than Canelo.
Yeah.
So, and I do think, the way he's going to have to fight this fight is to be on the move, right? Because I think if he meets fire with Canelo Alvarez, as strong as he is, as much as I respect him, if he meets fire with Canelo Alvarez, I think that's a recipe that's a recipe for disaster. He's going to have to move around. Is he going to be able to keep that up at the age of damn near 40 for 12 rounds against Canelo Alvarez? That's why I think it's a tough.
Well, see, here's the thing is also, I understand the age, but like you like to tell me, everybody doesn't age the same. It's the wars you've been through.
That's right.
Because when I like to say, well, Mayweather's older than Pacquiao.
Yeah.
And this person's older than that person. You go, hey, it's the Canelo been through some wars. Triple G, those 3 fights with Triple G.
That's true.
You've been through a war with Bivol. Yeah. Obviously Mayweather, but that was younger. And then you've taken you had Kovalev. Even it was a a brutal fight a little bit.
Yeah.
So you've been through things. Terrence Crawford really hasn't been through.
And then and then Gary, I think some people's styles age better, right? So Mayweather's style is going to age better than a guy like Pacquiao, who's a mover.
Yeah.
I think the more fundamental styles are going to age better. That's why I think Canelo's style is aging well. But I think Bud Crawford's style will age well too. Is just this is a situation where he's going to have to. I still believe he's going to have to move. He's going to have to move, and I think that just makes it a little bit tough. Gary, you brought up David Benavidez, who you want to see him in there next with. That's something I wanted to talk about because he did fly out to Saudi Arabia, Gary. And, obviously he was keeping his eye on the winner of Bivol Beterbiev. I want to ask you, first off, what do you think happens next for Bivol?
It's going to be a trilogy.
Yeah.
I mean, I seen that he has a mandatory, so he's probably going to have to fight the mandatory.
Yeah.
And then fight Beterbiev again, because Turkey's going to make sure they do a third, because the first two fights were great.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to do a mandatory, then I think he's going to fight Bivol. Even though when you ask me who I want to see David Benavidez fight, one of those guys, the top guys.
Well, in the interim, David Benavidez has to fight someone. I love it. I agree 100%.
He's the next
100%
in line for the title. Call him.
I agree.
I mean, I don't know who else.
I agree 100%.
Even though I think he works column. I think he works column.
Say that again.
Even though I think he works column.
Yeah, no, I think he beats him too, but I think it's a good fight, Gary, especially because Callum Smith, he fought Canelo and he fought Beterbiev. Now I know he lost to both of them, but those are his only two losses. He has only lost to the best guys at light heavyweight, really. So, and he just came off a really good win against Joshua Buatsi. I mean, I think me and you both thought he would probably lose that fight because
I should have went with my first thought.
Yeah,
I said I want to pick him as an upset, but after watching the fight against him and Beterbiev, I was like, nah, he's gonna lose.
Yeah. No, but I agree with you. I would love to see a card maybe on the trilogy where we've got maybe it's the co-main event. Could you imagine David Benavidez versus Callum Smith? Burks is asking another question. He says, can I ask y'all something? Do y'all think Bud is going to have the power to keep Canelo from cutting off the ring and putting pressure on him?
No.
But
I'm saying no, because I didn't think Bivol had the power to. Bivol beat him though. Yeah. But he still was walking down Bivol. Bivol had what you need is you don't really need.
Bivol's a bigger guy though, man. Bivol's a bigger guy.
Yeah, but Bivol laid on the ropes. Bivol played. Bivol, and I'm going to give him his credit, even against Beterbiev. He's a very strategic guy. He gave up rounds against Beterbiev.
By the way, how good is Gary? By the way, how good is Dimitri Bivol, bro?
Great. That's what I'm saying. I'm giving his credit. He leans against the ropes when he has to and let you beat up on him, weigh yourself down, and then he fires back just enough to keep you off him. Bivol even says he doesn't have the power like that to do things. Shakur Stevenson, you look at certain people, Bud is going to have power to make him respect them, but Bud is not knocking out Canelo. Nobody has. I think you brought up one fight where he was wobbled. I've never seen Canelo really wobbled.
Yeah, one time against Miguel Cotto's brother.
Exactly. So
I think how old was he when that happened? He might have still been a teenager when that happened.
This guy got a BBL chin. Remember?
I mean, the BBC.
Yeah. He has a chin, so you're not gonna. You got guys like Golovkin that hit him with clean shots.
Yeah,
and he didn't get wobbled. And Golovkin has power, so I don't think Terrence Crawford is gonna hurt him like that. Gary, I think you just got to make him respect your power.
So Gary, Canelo has a Brazilian butt chin.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And the thing about it is too, though, is that you just got to make him respect it. Not that it's going to really hurt him, because you seen Madrimov said at 154, Terrence Crawford has power. Yeah. So Madrimov had to respect it, because Madrimov was like, he's still cracking up here at 154.
Yeah. I went back and watched the fight between Bud and Madrimov the other day. Bud didn't look that fast, but looked like he slowed down a little. So the age plays a big part. And then Bud is adding 21 pounds. Let's not forget, man, this guy came up from like 130, 135 pounds. So, I mean, he's really moving up there. Gary,
he's not fighting again. He's taking a whole year before he fights again.
Yeah.
So he's trying to get acclimated to the weight. So who knows? You never know.
Well, Knuckleheads, we really appreciate you guys joining us this evening on the Fighters Rep podcast. That's 72 episodes down. We do this every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Join us, ask us questions. You could reach out to us on Instagram, preferably on YouTube. I'm going to be dropping almost daily content. Ignorant Behavior has his own channel going on as well. So definitely give him a follow. Subscribe to the channel. Join the channel. We got plenty of different membership options for you to help us continue to grow, and we greatly appreciate you guys joining us. We'll also go live after the Tank fight. Gary, hopefully you're available, but I will definitely be going live. We go live after all the big boxing fights. Gary, is there anything else you want to say? And he says, what's y'all Instagram? Mine is right at the bottom of the screen at FightersRep, and Gary's is Ignorant Behavior. So we appreciate you joining us today, Berkshire. Anything else you want to say to the Knuckleheads before we let them off the hook, Gary?
Nah, I'm finna go take a shower and get into some activities.
All right, great, because you smell like shit, brother. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much.
Yeah.